Hello and welcome to Millennium News TV 24/7 Global News Update. My name is Todd David Goldfinger, and here are today's top stories. Thank you for being with us. The Biden administration is seeking the Supreme Court's go-ahead to end a controversial Trump-era immigration program that forces some people seeking asylum in the U.S. to wait in Mexico for their hearings. The justices are hearing arguments Tuesday in the administration's appeal of lower court rulings that required immigration officials to reinstate the Remain in Mexico policy that the administration, in quotes, has twice determined is not in the interests of the United States, in quotes, according to court filings. Texas and Missouri, which sued to keep the program in place, said it has helped reduce the flow of people into the U.S. at the southern border. In quotes, many raise meritless immigration claims, including asylum claims, in the hope that they will be released into the United States. End quotes. The states told the Supreme Court in a filing. Next news. For years, Vincent Gillespie waged a legal battle to try to gain control of hundreds of paintings by his father. Renowned post-war American artist Gregory Gillespie. On January 6, 2021, prosecutors say Gillespie engaged in a very different kind of battle, joining rioters as they tried to wrest control of the U.S. Capitol from the federal government in one of the most violent confrontations of the riot. Gillespie, who investigators say was identified by half a dozen sources from images taken that day, was among a mob trying to force its way through a tunnel at the lower west terrace of the Capitol. An assault that almost succeeded by his own description. In quotes, "We were almost overpowering them," end quotes. Gillespie, blood visible on his scalp from the clash, told an Associated Press journalist at the scene that day. In quotes, "If you had like another 15, 20 guys behind us pushing, I think we could have won it." End quotes. Next news. A Texas appeals court on Monday delayed the execution of Melissa Lucio amid growing doubts about whether she fatally beat her 2-year-old daughter in a case that has garnered the support of lawmakers, celebrities, and even some jurors who sentenced her to death. The Texas Court of Criminal Appeals granted a request by Lucio's lawyers for a stay of execution so a lower court can review her claims that new evidence would exonerate her. Lucio had been set for lethal injection Wednesday for the 2007 death of her daughter Mariah in Harlingen, a city of about 75,000 in Texas's southern tip. Prosecutors have maintained that the girl was the victim of abuse and noted that her body was covered in bruises. Lucio's lawyers say Mariah died from injuries she sustained in a fall down a steep staircase several days before she died. Next news. Next news, please. The Michigan police officer who killed Patrick Loyola with a shot to the head has been with the Grand Rapids Department for 7 years after starring as a pole vaulter at a small college and marrying his longtime girlfriend during a church mission trip to Africa. Christopher Scher's name had been circulating since his face was seen in videos of the April 4th confrontation with Loyola, a black man. but his identity wasn't publicly acknowledged until Monday when the police chief changed course and released it 3 days after passionate demands at the funeral of the 26-year-old native of Congo. Chief Eric Winstrom said he was acting in quotes, in the interest of transparency to reduce ongoing speculation and to avoid any further confusion, end quotes. We're going to take a short break from the daily global English news of Millennium News TV 24/7. Please stay with us. Thank you.
Millennium TV, bridging communities worldwide. We broadcast diverse international content from Europe, Asia, Africa, and now right here in the USA. Watch us via Roku on your smart TV. Submit your own content to 1530entertainmentllc@gmail.com. Download the Millennium TV app from the App Store to stream our shows anywhere, anytime. Millennium TV.
Hello and welcome back to Millennium News TV 24/7 Global News Update. Here's a continuation of today's top stories. Thank you for being with us. The longer Ukraine's army fends off the invading Russians, the more it absorbs the advantages of Western weaponry and training. Exactly the transformation President Vladimir Putin wanted to prevent by invading Ukraine in the first place. That was Putin's aim. The list of arms flowing to Ukraine is long and growing longer. It includes new American battlefield aerial drones and the most modern US and Canadian artillery. Also, anti-tank weapons from Norway and others, armored vehicles and anti-ship missiles from Britain, and Stinger counter-air missiles also from Denmark and other countries. If Ukraine can hold off the Russians, its accumulating arsenal of Western weapons could have a transformative effect in a country that has, like other former Soviet republics, relied mainly on arms and equipment from the Soviet era. But sustaining that military aid won't be easy. It is costly and, for some supplier nations, politically risky. It is also being taken out of what I don't know what it says here. Okay, that's the U.S. Defense Secretary Lloyd Austin is convening a meeting Tuesday at Germany's Ramstein Air Base to work out ways to keep it keep things moving properly, I guess. Helping defense ministers and top military leaders from approximately 40 countries are to participate. Next news. As he met with voters recently in a part of northwest Georgia where Donald Trump is still very popular, David Perdue invoked his belief in the lie that elections in 2020 and 2021 were stolen from the former president and himself. In quotes. First of all, it was stolen, end quotes, Perdue said. In quotes. The facts are coming out, end quotes. When the rally was over, Perdue visited the storefront office of a group that similarly espouses election falsehoods. Perdue posted a photo on his Facebook page of himself beaming as the group's co-founder talks under a banner proclaiming, in quotes, a legal vote requires the rule of law, end quotes. The emphasis on false election claims is a reminder of how far David Perdue, has veered to the right ahead of next month's primary against incumbent Republican Governor Brian Kemp. He's evolved from a business-minded conservative who won a U.S. Senate seat in 2014 by focusing on federal spending to a hardliner who associates with conspiracy theorists. Next news. Bridget Brink, a veteran Foreign Service officer who has spent most of her career in the shadow of the former Soviet Union, has been nominated by President Joe Biden to serve as the U.S. ambassador to Ukraine as the country fends off a Russian invasion that's entered its third month. The nomination comes as U.S. officials say American diplomats will soon return to Kiev, which they evacuated when the war began. Ukrainian forces have since successfully defended the city, and most of the fighting has shifted toward the eastern part of the country. Daniel Fried, a former U.S. ambassador to Poland, who has known Brink for years, described her as, in quotes, not reckless, but fearless, end quotes, and expected she'll be eager to get to Kiev. Next news. Former President Donald Trump said Monday that he has no intention of rejoining Twitter, even if his account is reinstated following Elon Musk's agreement to buy the social media giant for roughly $44 billion US. Trump told Fox News that he will instead focus on his own platform called Truth Social, which has been mired in problems since its inception earlier this year. In quotes, I'm not going on Twitter. I'm going to stay on truth. End quotes. Trump was quoted telling the network, in quotes, I hope Elon buys Twitter because he'll make improvements to it and he's a good man. But I'm going to be staying on truth. End quotes. Trump was barred from major social media platforms after the deadly January 6th insurrection, with Twitter citing, in quotes, the risk of further incitement of violence, end quotes. The decision denied him the megaphone he had used to generate media attention and speak directly to his followers, to his base, which had been integral to his then political rise. We're going to take a short break from the daily global English news of Millennium News TV 24/7. Please stay with us. Thank you.
Millennium TV, bridging communities worldwide. We broadcast diverse international content from Europe, Asia, Africa, and now right here in the USA. Watch us via Roku on your smart TV. Submit your own content to 1530entertainmentllc@gmail.com. Download the Millennium TV app from the App Store to stream our shows anywhere, anytime. Millennium TV.
Hello and welcome back to Millennium News TV 24/7 Global News Update. Here is the continuation of today's top stories. Thank you for being with us. Russia unleashed a string of attacks Monday against rail and fuel installations deep inside Ukraine, far from the front lines of Moscow's new eastern offensive, as Russia's top diplomat warned against provoking World War III and said the threat of a, in quotes, nuclear conflict should not be underestimated, they say. The U.S., meanwhile, moved to rush more weaponry to Ukraine and said the assistance from Western allies is making a difference in the 2-month-old war. In quotes, Russia is failing. Ukraine is succeeding, end quotes. U.S. Secretary of State Antony Blinken declared a day after he and the U.S. Secretary of Defense made a bold visit to Kiev to meet with President Volodymyr Zelensky. Blinken said Washington approved a $165 million sale of ammunition, non-US ammo mainly, if not entirely for Ukraine's Soviet-era weapons, and will also provide more than $300 million in financing to buy more supplies. Next news. Secretary of State Antony Blinken and Defense Secretary Lloyd Austin said Monday, after a secrecy-shrouded visit to Kiev, that Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky is committed to winning his country's fight against Russia, and that the United States will help him achieve that goal. In quotes, he has the mindset that they want to win, and we have the mindset that we want to help them win. End quotes. Austin told reporters in Poland the day after the 3-hour face-to-face meeting with Zelensky in Ukraine. Austin said that the nature of the fight in Ukraine had changed now that Russia has pulled away from the wooded northern regions to focus on the eastern industrial heartland of the Donbass. Because of the nature of the fight has evolved, so have Ukraine's military needs. And Zelensky is now focused on more tanks, artillery, and other munitions. Next news. After winning another 5 years in the French presidential palace, Emmanuel Macron intends to go back to work straight away on domestic and foreign policy, but he will soon face crucial parliamentary elections where he may struggle to keep his majority. Here's a look at what comes next for Macron and his leadership of France. The Constitutional Council will publish the presidential election's official results on Wednesday, and Macron will hold a cabinet meeting. Macron will then need to set a date for his inauguration ceremony, which must be held by May 13th at the Élysée Palace. He will receive the National Guard's honors and make a speech. Usually 21 cannon shots are fired to mark inauguration, although President François Mitterrand and Jacques Chirac both skipped that tradition for their re-elections in 1988 and 2002. Macron is the only other leader of modern France to win a second term at the ballot box. Next news. A Brazilian federal court on Monday upheld the suspension of an environmental license for what would be the largest open-pit gold mine in the nation's Amazon rainforest, dealing a blow to the Canada-based company behind the project. Belo Sun Mining Corp was appealing the same court's 2017 ruling, which found that the company's consultation with local indigenous peoples and study on the project's socio-environmental impacts didn't meet the criteria required by the National Indian Foundation. In a 3-0 vote, the court maintained its prior ruling. Belo Sun can appeal the decision to a higher court. The company's Volta Grande project is located on the banks of the Xingu River in the state of Pará. It is located about 20 kilometers, that's 12.4 miles, from Belo Monte, the world's third largest hydroelectric dam. The Belo Monte Dam has reduced the flow in the Volta Grande, Big Bend, stretch of the Xingu River, where the Belo Sun project is located. Among other impacts, the fish population, a staple for the local population, is diminishing. We're going to take a short break from the Daily Global English News of Millennium News TV 24/7. Please stay with us. Thank you.
Millennium TV, bridging communities worldwide. We broadcast diverse international content from Europe, Asia, Africa, and now right here in the USA. Watch us via Roku on your smart TV. Submit your own content to 1530entertainmentllc@gmail.com. Download the Millennium TV app from the App Store to stream our shows anywhere, anytime. Millennium TV.
Hello and welcome back to Millennium News TV 24/7 Global News Update. Here's the continuation of today's top stories. Thank you for being with us. Beijing will conduct mass testing of most of its 21 million people, authorities announced Monday, as a new COVID-19 outbreak sparked stockpiling of food by residents worried about the possibility of a Shanghai-style lockdown. The Chinese capital began mass testing people in one of its 16 districts where most of the new cases have been found. The city also imposed lockdowns on individual residential buildings and one section of the city. Late in the day, health officials said the testing would be expanded Tuesday to all but 5 outlying districts. While only 70 cases have been found since the outbreak surfaced Friday, authorities have rolled out strict measures under China's zero COVID approach to try to prevent a further spread of the virus. Some residents worked from home and many stocked up on food as a safeguard against the possibility that they could be confined indoors, as has happened in multiple cities, including the financial hub of Shanghai. The city of Anyang in central China and Dandong on the border of North Korea became the latest to start lockdowns as the Omicron variant spread across the vast country of 1.4 billion people. Next news. The final weeks of the college school year have been disrupted yet again by COVID-19 as universities bring back mask mandates. We switch to online classes and scale back large gatherings in response to upticks in coronavirus infections. Colleges in Washington, D.C., New York, Pennsylvania, Massachusetts, Connecticut, and Texas have reimposed a range of virus measures, with Howard University moving to remote learning amid a surge in cases in the nation's capital. This is the third straight academic year that has been upended by COVID-19, meaning soon-to-be seniors have yet to experience a normal college year. In quotes, I feel like last summer everyone was like, oh, this is it, we're nearing the tail end, end quotes, recalled Nina Heller, a junior at American University in Washington, D.C., where administrators brought back a mask mandate about a month after lifting it, in quotes. And then it didn't quite happen, and now we're here at summer again, and there's kind of no end, end quotes. Next news. For months, in Istanbul restaurant Tarihi Balikcha tried to absorb the surging cost of the sunflower oil its cooks use to fry fish, squid, and mussels. But in early April, with oil prices nearly 4 times higher than they were in 2019, the restaurant finally raised its prices. Now, even some longtime customers look at the menu and walk away. In quotes, we resisted. We said, let's wait a bit. Maybe the market will improve. Maybe prices will stabilize. But we saw that there is no improvement, end quotes, said Masun Akas, a waiter and cook at the restaurant. In quotes, the customer cannot afford it, end quotes. Global cooking oil prices have been rising since the COVID-19 pandemic began for multiple reasons, from poor harvests in South America to virus-related labor shortages and steadily increasing demand from the biofuel industry. The war in Ukraine, which supplies nearly half of the world's sunflower oil on top of the 25% from Russia, has interrupted shipments and sent cooking oil prices spiraling. Next news. Next news, please. Tesla CEO Elon Musk stands to be the next owner of Twitter, having pledged roughly 44 billion US American dollars to buy the social platform and take it private. Assuming that happens, next up on his agenda will be planning how to fulfill his promises to develop new Twitter features, open its algorithm to public inspection, and defeat spam bots on the service that mimic real users. He'll also need to have the company start, in quotes, authenticating all humans, end quotes, as he described it in a statement quoted in the Monday press release announcing the acquisition. What exactly Musk meant by the phrase remains unclear. So does the question of whether his ideas are technologically possible, and how we'll know if these changes would benefit users or serve some other purpose. Experts who have studied content moderation and researched Twitter for years have expressed doubt that Elon Musk knows exactly what he is getting into. After all, there are plenty of fledgling examples of free speech focused platforms launched in the past few years as Twitter antidotes, largely by conservatives unhappy with the company's crackdowns on hate, harassment, and misinformation. Many have struggled to deal with toxic content, and at least one has been cut off by its own technology providers in protest. This has been the daily global English news update of Millennium News TV 24/7. My name is Todd, and I thank you for watching. Please log in to get the latest news on all of our social networking sites. That means Facebook, yes, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok. On TikTok, we are Millennium News 24. Also, our YouTube channel, which I love. News channel M24 on YouTube. Viewers now on both network broadcasting, Android and iOS devices, Apple TV, Roku TV, Amazon Fire TV. Also, all smart TV platforms. Please enjoy our entertainment, our latest